So we can dive in. So you'll notice here on this homepage, we have a couple of different dashboards we're going to go ahead and walk through. And so our member types that you'll notice are listed here on the left-hand side, and your members are divided out into each of those member types. And so anytime you see like associate or voting, anything without this, anything that kind of owns a sub-menu, we talked about this previously, that's going to be where all of those companies or corporate companies are held. And then the individuals underneath those are going to be the linked individuals. So if you wanted to just see all of those associates, you could click that number 9, and it's going to take you to a list of those 9 companies, not the linked individuals. If you wanted to see a list of the linked individuals, instead you could click the number next to associate member. So those are the actual members of the companies, and it's going to take you to a list of those linked individuals.
Okay.
You'll also be able to use this dashboard area to follow your members as they move from active to graced to lapsed. So they're just going to be, you'll see their numbers populate in the grace column if they still haven't paid their dues. And if they still haven't paid their dues and they wind up lapsed, you'll see their number populate under the lapsed column. Just like number under the active column, same thing with graced and lapsed. You'll be able to select those different numbers under each of those different columns as well. Same thing, it's going to the profile list of just those individuals. We're going to talk about shortly what you can do in that profile list. You can do all kinds of different cool stuff, contact, which is really great, exporting their information, which is really great. So just all kinds of things that we can do in there that we're going to talk about as we continue through our training today.
Okay.
We also have your total number of members listed down here at the bottom. We have total number of prospects, and then we have the total listed of active. The right-hand column of this, new members in the last 90 days, this is just going to pull out any new individuals that have joined in the last 90 days, just so that you can contact those guys quickly and frequently, reiterating the membership benefits they're gaining by being a part of your association.
Okay.
As we scroll down our homepage, we come to the event dashboard area. And so our event dashboard area is going to list up to 3 past events or up to 3 upcoming expected events. These are going to pull from event registrations or event forms. We're going to talk about those on our forms training. But right now, I just want to point out this is just a snapshot of the events that you have going on. It'll let you know the date that the event was held on, will be held on. And it'll let you know how many people attended or have registered so far, of course, for those upcoming events. Lastly, we have 2 financial dashboards. Once again, this is just a snapshot of information from the financial end. We can look into this information in much more detail, but this is just kind of giving you a quick glimpse of what's going on in the system. And so aged receivables is going to show you how many outstanding invoices you have, by how many days, and how much money. So if you have a big bar graph in here for current, that means that your invoices are current, they're up to date. 1 to 30 bar graph means they're 1 to 30 days past due, 31 to 60 days past due, 61 to 90 days past due, or 91 plus days past due.
Okay.
And then lastly, we have our sales over time. This is just going to show you how much money has been brought in per revenue account per month. So you're going to see this line graph fluctuate depending on how much money was brought in per month. And you can filter revenue account by select revenue account filter. You'll see those different revenue accounts that you supply to me in here. You can check the revenue account that you want to go ahead and take a glimpse at. You're going to apply that filter, and then at that time you'll see the revenue account change, or you'll see that line graph change.
Okay.
Any questions on this home page of information, these different dashboards?
Yes, up at the membership one at the I see the voting member $100 and the voting member $150. This is on current. Oh, I see. Okay. 75.
I just would have created based on the member types provided in your database.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Great. Anytime you want to come back to this home page, like if you just get lost in the site, you just want to start over fresh, you can just select that home icon in the top left hand corner. Anytime you feel like you just over, you can just click on that home icon and it'll bring you right back here. Whoops, I clicked it too many times. The next thing that I want to go ahead and take a look at are just your account settings. This is just going to be a little glimpse of some of the initial setup items I've created for you. If there is something wrong with these setup items, just let me know, but you'll really probably never need to dive into this area except for once you've graduated the help team with questions. Now, they're going to ask for your account number. If you're like me, you have a million numbers that here, it's always going to be your account number is always going to be under your account settings tab. So if you ever need to access that, you'll be able to find it here.
Okay.
This is also a place to keep track or to keep a count of where you're at with your custom profiles that you've used or your prospect profiles that you've used. Allotted memberships and 237 out of the 900 allotted prospect memberships. So as these numbers grow, that number, 223, as it grows, hopefully at the end of this year, you've surpassed that 300 count. At that time, you can either determine if you have a lot of members that haven't paid their due, you might want to move the prospects if you've got room, or you might just want to delete those profiles if they haven't been active. Anytime you delete a profile in our system, it's just like archiving. So you can always bring back that profile just as it was from the day that you deleted it. You can always restore it, which I love that in our system. But if you have, over 300 members and they are all paying and you don't want to get rid of any of them because they're bringing in income, it's leveling up with us. You have your time zone list.
Doing what with you?
So you would just move up to the next level.
Yeah, okay. A question about that. On some of those accounts, I think I mentioned to you in our previous database on our current website, we only allow 2 contacts per organization. So we have the organization address, and then we have 2 additional contacts. I had in the database I sent to you, I had in some cases, 8 or 10 contact people for each organization because they were people who had attended the conference. And do you typically see organizations that cap the number of contacts in a single organization, or charge more for each additional person or something like that?
That's a great question. So I have, honestly, more associations that cap it. And I think that is, in my point of view, silly. Because if you have one company or one family or whatever the case may be, and they have 50 accounts and they're paying, 50 linked profiles and they're paying the same amount, or even 10, and they're paying the same amount as somebody who only has, it's like, well, they're taking up more room in your custom profiles. I personally think that they should be paying for that. So I do have some associations that will cap, and then we'll charge extra for additional profiles. So we can create that in the system. You can think on it if you want, but we can cap it at 2, and then we can say for every additional, linked profiles after 2, it's another $15 or $25 or however much more you want to add, and we can actually just tell the system to do that for us. We can automate that. So when renewal comes up, if they have 5 linked profiles, any linked profile after 2 is $25, then you'll see an additional line item for 3 additional. Actually, I think you would see 3 additional line items, each with $25, and then the sum of the $75 plus whatever the initial dues amount was. So we can definitely add that to the system, no problem.
Okay. Because that normally happens when the organizations are larger and can afford more money for dues anyway.
Exactly.
And in some cases, I know that I wanted to capture all of those names and linked people when we transfer the database and retain all that pre-conference attendance, but some of those, excuse me, some of those people may no longer work for the organization. They may have moved on to some way.
Got it. Yeah, just cleaning those up as you go along. And that's a great idea. And then I agree. I think that if they have more people that are linked, it's probably because they can afford more. So we can definitely.
Okay.
Awesome. We've got you guys in the Central Time Zone. Membership year begins January 1st. Member number turned on. We're using that. We are not using QuickBooks, so we have that turned off. We've got your notification email. So notification, any email that comes out from MemberClicks that goes to your members when they reply back to that email address, it's going to be sent to you. And then we've just got your billing contact information up here for MemberClicks to have on file. Any questions or any additional questions on this account notifications page?
Nope.
Awesome. So the next thing that we're going to start taking a look at are your financials. I'm going to use the site to review financials because we've got some financials already created in here. So it kind of helps give you an idea of what to expect, what it's going to look like over time as invoices are created. So for you, we're just going to go to financial and invoices. You'll notice that this invoice list is, when it loads, blank right now. So I'm going to go back into my MemberClicks test site, same thing. We're going to go to financial and invoices. Now this is going to be that invoice list. Any invoice that's ever created by your members is going to end up in this area. And so, so that's going to be a lot of invoices over time, right? There's going to be a ton of invoices in here. That's why we've added a search bar in the top right-hand corner for you guys, so you can search these invoices by first name, last name, organization, or of course, invoice number. I'm going to go ahead and search my name because I know I have some test invoices in here. Now, in addition to searching for invoices by name, like I said, first name, last name, organization, or invoice number, also filter by invoice type. So let's say I only want to see invoices from forms that I've taken in your system. You can apply that filter. And we can even further filter by selecting we only want to see open, pending, paid, partial, or voided invoices. Now, in my case, all three of mine are reflecting as paid, so it wouldn't make a difference if I applied any of these, but I could select paid, and we still see that I have 3 invoices in the system.
Now, when it says the type is forms, what does that mean?
So that means that the invoice was created by your member taking some type of form. It could have been a new membership application. It could have been an event registration form, a donation form, basically anything else in the system that somebody maybe took a form for. It creates an invoice. It's going to reflect as a form in the system. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so why doesn't, under type, why wouldn't it say what kind of form, like conference registration?
So that would be more specific, and we'll be able to view that in the transaction report. But at this area, it's just listing as type. There are only a couple of different types: ad hoc, accredit forms, which is an umbrella for all forms, or renewals. We'll be able to view specific types of forms in the transaction report, which I'll show you shortly.
Okay.
Some of my favorite features that we have in here, so let's say I give you a call and I am missing my invoice. I can't find it, or I need a receipt. You can always find the invoice that I'm looking for. You can select that invoice and email it to me just by selecting the email button in the top left-hand corner. Now this is going to bring in my default email address from my profile. You can either change that or you can add additional recipients. And you can just send invoice to additional recipients or just me, whoever needs the invoice. We can also create a PDF, so you can send this to me over the, via snail mail versus using my email. So you may have some members that prefer receiving invoices that way. That way, you can just print it off and send it through the mail. And of course, you can void invoices from here as well. If we select the invoice number, It's going to bring us into the invoice. Now this is what your invoices will look like. Of course, it'll be your logo in the top right-hand corner and your association information in the top left-hand corner. And I'm going to show you where you'll add this information in at.
Okay.
Invoice list for just a moment, and I'm going to find an open invoice because there's a couple other things I want to. Here we go. Show you. So once we're in the invoice, this is a renewal invoice. This is exactly how your renewal invoices will reflect, right? It'll say membership renewal. It'll say their member type. It'll say the company name that's renewing, and then it'll say their next expiration date, and then it'll list any linked members underneath the company as well. We have a note section on the invoice that's external. A lot of times this is used for remit payment to information. I'm going to show you where you can complete this from our training today as well. We also have an internal note section. So this is great. So you can save that comment.